I want to learn about what Christianity says about the age that you're able to have sex with a woman.
Okay.
That's all I want, and I don't want to argue if you're right or if you're wrong.
Okay.
Because from what I know, it's a very young age.
Okay.
And I just want to know through your evidence.
Very simple, my friend.
But I don't want to go to
even Christ himself quoted Genesis when he said, "A man shall leave his father's house, and he shall join with."
That's the thing.
Brother, are you still here? Christ himself, in his gospel, talks about how a man will leave his house and he will join with a woman, and the two shall become one flesh. So Christ establishes that marriage should be between a man and a woman, not a boy and a woman, or a girl and a man.
Or a boy and a girl.
Great. Now, we understand as well that in his ministry, he was called by a man to help heal his daughter. But the girl unfortunately had died by the time that he got there. The girl was said to be 12 years old according to the Bible. When Christ went to her, he resurrected her. But what did he tell her? He didn't say, "Woman, get up." He said, "Little child, get up." So he established that for Christ, a 12-year-old wasn't a woman, but a little girl. And lastly, Christ said that whoever harms any one of these kids, it is better that he tie a millstone around his neck and fling himself into the river than incur the wrath of God.
Just to summarize,
so
what
we
I understood
understand.
What I understood from you is that once a girl is 12, 13, she's now a woman.
Nope. So even as young as 12, you're still only a girl. Right? So,
I know, not with Islam.
Siraj,
please,
watch yourself.
So it is not like in the UK where 16 is the legal age. Because in the UK you can be 16 post puberty or even not even yet hit puberty and you can still have sex.
Okay.
So it's not that 12 is the age.
The legalism of man is not the legalism of God. Men can make rules. For example, God says no to abortion. But here we allow that stuff. Right?
He's waffling. Ask him to show you
Siraj,
who makes the law.
take a hike.
Ask him who makes the law.
But I just want to learn about Christianity.
Siraj, take a hike.
Is 12 the age that after 12 you can't have sex?
my friend, we can at least establish that at the age of 12, you were still only a child. So if Christ was talking about men and women getting married, we need to understand that it is important that somebody at least completes the age of puberty before they can get married and
So
have
it's
sex.
not based on age, it's based on physical and mental maturity.
Which correlates directly with age.
Not necessarily.
Okay, people don't tend to complete. For example, as a man, you don't complete puberty until you're in your 20s, right?
Until what, sorry?
Until you're in your 20s, unless you have some kind of debilitating like genetic disorder. You don't tend to complete puberty as a man until you're in your 20s, and it correlates.
I've never said this, bro.
You don't complete puberty. You don't complete puberty. Every study of childhood development will say
You
this.
finish puberty
In
at
your
20.
20s. In your 20s.
Mr. Calm down.
So you keep on going until you're your 20s.
Wait, what is the ending of puberty for a man?
Sorry?
What is the ending of puberty?
Roughly, it's in their mid-20s. The same thing with a woman,
Saying
actually.
physically, what are the signs? Once you can bust enough.
No. That is simply something that occurs at the beginning stages, right? There's hardening of the bones, increased testosterone production, the growing of the Adam's apple, the growing of facial hair, of pubic hair, of hair in your armpits, right?
You are aware that your brain doesn't stop developing till the age of 25.
Exactly.
So does that mean you shouldn't get married till 25?
No, not necessarily,
Why?
right? But understand this, that puberty, number one, is a process. And in the earlier stages of puberty, you're still developing very rapidly. And in the later stages, then you're developing more so neurologically, right?
But why is it
So,
that, but why is it that
with all
this
this,
you don't have to be 25, but with this you have to be 20?
like I told you, these are the laws of men. right?
No, I
Men
think
make
25 is when your brain finishes developing.
on average.
Yeah, so
not in every instance.
So why don't you have to wait for that?
Huh?
Why don't you have to wait for that? But you have to wait for your Adam's apple to fall.
Because these are the laws that men make, right? I am not telling you that you need to wait until you're 25. But you certainly need to wait until you are past the very early pubescent stages of puberty. You cannot do it when you're 9. You cannot do it when you're 10. You cannot do it when you're
It's
11.
subjective person to person, because I know somebody who at the age of 11 had an entire beard.
Yes.
So he probably finished puberty when he was 15,
No.
for example.
I don't think he finished it when he was 15. Simply, the hair began to express itself more early. But still, when it comes to, for example, the size of the testes, the size of his bones, his height even, those things still took a while to develop.
People can finish earlier than others.
Okay,
Yes?
for those people, those are extraneous cases. So unless you can prove to me,
when he wants to defeat Islam. But
Okay.
when we use the Bible, he uses
the
logic.
Bible
When you
it
use logic,
comports
he
with
wants
logic
the Bible.
perfectly, and Siraj over here is the most illogical man in this part.
So, brother, I don't know
now,
the verse.
Wait.
Just one last question.
Siraj, go away for now, yes?
I don't know
Okay.
The specific verse, but
Okay.
I'm telling you from what I learned here in Speaker's Corner from other Christians,
Okay.
like Captain Bloodfire and some other Christians.
What did you learn about it?
From what I learned,
Yes.
the main way that Christians know when a woman is ready is from a specific verse. I think it's Ephesians, where it talks about thy breasts have been fashioned and pubic hair, basically. Do you know the verse? Do you know what I'm
Okay,
talking about?
so that is not how Christians determine
He told
when
me that this
somebody.
is how they determine.
Okay, well I'll need to
In
see
the Bible,
that.
you can
But
marry a
that's
girl
not how
from
they
flower age.
determine
What's
it.
the flower
Okay?
age?
So what I would
What's
tell
the
you
flower
then,
age? 1 Corinthians chapter 7.
what I would
verse
tell you
36.
then
What is that?
what essentially
Flower
is
age.
happening here is
7
that
from
you
7 to
need to be
14.
developed first. Like for example, as you
But
can
this
see,
Bible verse, how does this come
so
into
the
play?
Bible verse is not the basis, because the basis is that a man has to marry a woman. So now it depends in the society that you're in, what do you constitute as a man or a woman? You would find that in Christendom, aka in Christian kingdom and Christian history, what we've actually done is progressively, we have actually increased the age at which you should get married and not in fact decreased it, because Christianity
By who? Ask from the
comports
Bible or from
with
the-
logic.
They make the
We
yeah,
understand.
Is that from the Bible,
from the Bible, from
We
the people.
understand
From
that
the
people take
Yeah, the
a
boys,
while
yeah, not the
before
Bible.
they are physically
You understand
and
now?
mentally capable to have children
Through what,
and
though?
to get
Through
married.
science?
Through
No.
simple observation,
No,
yes,
through science.
yes,
Science.
yes,
No science,
absolutely.
brother,
The
no
through
science. It's
science,
through
because people
Christianity.
understand that, for example,
It's
when you
logic.
have a
Not
child,
Christianity.
when you are very young, like when you were 13 or 12 or 10, your likelihood of dying without specialist medical equipment is very, very high. So it's probably a better idea to have kids a little bit later.
But I know people who had kids at 13.
Yes.
The youngest mother in
Today,
UK 11.
Yeah, today.
when you have sophisticated
11.
medical equipment. But 1,000 years ago, 400 years ago, 200 years ago, that could be a death sentence.
Ask
Right?
him anyone died that.
So-
Anyone died because of that. Ask him. Bring the
For-
evidence. Stop waffling.
Okay,
Bring
so,
the evidence.
so
Anyone
take
who
this.
died back
Take
in
this.
the days
Okay,
because of
I
that.
love this. I love this.
Yes.
So Siraj here is telling
Bring
me.
it. Bring it.
Siraj here is telling
Mary
me, right?
could
So
die.
one
Mary
second, one
could
second.
die. God
So
of the Bible
Siraj
is
here is
pedophile.
saying that
How old was
people
God of
in
the
the
Bible?
past who
He
used to have
existed before Mary.
prepubescent
Yes. Way
sexual
older
activity
than the
and
God.
then have very
He
young
went to
children,
Mary's private
9,
party,
10 and
impregnated
11,
himself.
become wives and get
Inside
pregnant,
Mary's womb.
didn't die
they are
as
not-
often
which
as
was
they do
worse?
today.
Sleeping
So
with a
Siraj,
girl or
I want you to
impregnating?
showcase to
Which
me
one is
any
worse?
evidence.
Which one is worse?
In fact, look at this.
Impregnating is worse than
When you have Aisha,
sleeping with
right?
a girl.
Have you noticed that even though she was with Muhammad for 9 years, well, I guess in total 15 years of her life, right? That she never had any kids. Do you know why?
Not only Prophet Aisha only had no kids, all his wives, only Khadija had kids.
So,
Try another one.
so,
Another
you know why?
logic. Bring another logic.
Do you know why?
Bring another logic.
Clearly,
Bring another logic.
we can
Hey,
establish-
hey, bring
David,
another
we
logic.
can establish-
Bring another logic.
Does God make mistakes?
Look,
no.
Okay,
So,
okay, wait.
we can
Otherwise,
establish
otherwise,
that Muhammad
only Khadija
clearly was
and
not
7
infertile
kids for him.
because he had
the rest
children.
had no kids.
But somehow,
Are you saying because of
Aisha never had
He
any
said
kids.
destroys your
How
argument.
How so?
No, what you say now doesn't make sense.
He says, I've just been
He
informed
said,
this.
why
he
Aisha
only
never
had, he only had
got
kids with
kids.
his first wife.
Yes,
So why
others
didn't he have,
never
why
got
didn't he have
kids.
kids with his
Wait
other
a
wife?
second.
Stay
Wait
there,
a
stay
second.
there.
I am not certain about that. But very well, we
Thank
can
you.
conclude into that.
So don't
However, when it comes to Aisha,
Yes.
why was she with Muhammad for 9 years? And we can establish that Muhammad wasn't infertile, but she couldn't have kids. Probably because she was far too young when they consummated. He ruined her ability to have kids.
But we don't have
And
probability.
we know that sex with a prepubescent girl today can ruin her ability
Because
to
others were
have
young.
children.
Wait.
So
Wait.
it is not good
The
if
youngest
you go
mother-
ahead
wait,
and
stop
have sex
waffling.
with
The
children
youngest
who
mother
are that
11 years
young.
old in this country.
But that is
So
only
was
because
Aisha
we
nine?
are in
Wait.
2023
Aisha nine?
and then we can do that.
Aisha
Mary
nine?
was
When
12.
she was not 12.
Mary was
She was not 14.
According to Catholic,
She was not
according
14
to Catholic
or 12.
sources,
That is not
they have
true.
different sources.
That is
Shall I
not
give you-
true.
okay, I'll give you
That is
now.
not true. So
That's not
from
true.
Catholic
I'll
sources, she
give
was
him-
12 to 14.
I'll
she
give him-
was not 12 to 14.
I'll give him. No, I'll give him.
Catholic
no, some
sources
Catholic-
don't use that
give him.
from anything to do with
Wait,
the
I'll
Bible.
give him.
And like I told you already,
No,
like I
no,
told you already,
Catholic
right?
Christians have different
When Christ
sources.
said you have to be a woman
Catholic
first,
sources, Mary was
and we
told.
know that in the
Mary was told
Judea,
when she
they
got
didn't
married
see
to
a
Joseph.
13-year-old or
So they have
12-year-old
different sources.
as a woman.
Wait,
There you go.
But with Judaic
Wait.
law, girls was married
I
at
got
12.
another one.
Right. Well, that's the problem, right? With Mosaic.
So God done wrong
Wait,
with the
wait.
Jews.
Which Mosaic law are you referring to? Which
I
one?
got another one.
Which one?
I got another
So
one.
you said Mosaic law, right? So
think it's Mosaic.
that comes with like the 10 Commandments and the 613, right? Which one are you referencing when you say that girls can get married at 12? Which one?
It was Jewish tradition.
Okay.
I say no. In the Bible, Acts, New Testament, Paul said, if you fear for your girl, yes, at young age, you can marry her at flower age. What's flower age? What's flower age? 1
Bring out the verse.
Corinthians chapter 7 verse
Bring out the
36.
verse.
Flower age.
Bring out the verse.
Do you know the book of Joshua is approved by the Bible? The Bible,
Bring out
let me
the
give-
verse.
Josh chapter 10 verse 13 is approving the book of Joshua. The book of Joshua
So,
chapter 24 verse 40.
prove-
Listen,
okay.
verse 40
So, first
it
of all,
says
prove
Isaac
that the book
was
of-
40 and Rebecca was 10. But in the Bible indicates Rebecca was 3 in the
Okay.
Bible. You know
So
what it says?
now what he is doing
Soon
here is
later-
that he is
wait,
taking something
wait,
that not all Christians agree with. So therefore,
context.
what we can then do now is that
There
if
is
he
no
takes this,
single verse.
Oh no, that's fine. Huh? Okay, so Siraj, or do you want to do it?
Because
So-
it's complicated. Like,
Okay,
it's better
well,
for you to just
not an issue, but ultimately what is happening here is that simple. That is what Christianity says about getting married. You gotta be a man, you gotta be a woman. Throughout Christian history, we have increased the
But being
age,
a man is
not
subjective,
decreased.
right?
It's not quite subjective. There are indicators
It's
to prove
personal
it.
to each
So
person.
basically,
He might not be a man yet.
No. Listen very
But
carefully.
he might or he might not. Do you know what I
Listen
mean?
very carefully. You can talk about maybe the responsibilities
Not all
of a
girls
man at a young
age of
age,
9
but when it comes to biology, there is a general average across every time and civilization that doesn't change.
In this country is nothing, but in Africa
when
and
I asked you
Asia,
earlier,
they're
that's
like
like
women.
That's a
They are
damn.
like women,
Wait,
they
hold,
look
wait.
everything
Sorry,
is
one
fine.
second. One second.
Listen,
Sorry, wait.
this conversation
One second.
about the
Yo,
age. It's not about comparing
this
the
guy
age.
just said something right that I think is completely ludicrous.
The age.
He said a 9-year-old girl in this country is a girl, but in Africa and Asia they're strong. I was a
Was Mary
9-year-old in Africa.
Was Mary
I was
strong?
5 foot. I was
God,
5 foot
imagine
tall
God,
at 9.
who is older?
I was
God,
not
God,
no strong
God
beast
was-
at 9 years old.
How many-
So
how
this
old is
guy
God of the
either
Bible?
hasn't been to
How old
Africa
is the God
or
of
he's
the
never seen an
Bible?
African girl.
How old
He's
is
a
the
damn
God of
liar.
the Bible?
That's the
How
first
old
thing.
is God of the
So,
Bible? Tell me.
Pardon me.
Compared to Mary,
So,
how old?
Like I was telling you, right?
Infinity
Ultimately,
years, yes,
what happens
has
here
no
is this
beginning.
simple.
Imagine
We
he went
know,
to Mary's private
like I told
part.
you,
He impregnated
number one,
her.
it has
so
to be a man and a
sleeping
woman.
according to them is
That's the
worse
first thing.
than
And
conceiving.
secondly,
Mary
Christianity
was
throughout
told,
the
according to
last
Catholic
2,000 years
sources. They
has
have
always
different
tried
sources.
to increase
They
the
have
age of marriage
different
and
Bibles,
not decrease it.
verses.
So that would then
No,
mean
look, now
that what
example,
we told,
the Gospel of Matthew chapter
Yep.
17
From
verse
what I know,
21,
in
he doesn't
Christianity,
believe.
you can marry an
John 1, John
You can't
5, 7,
marry
he
an
does not believe.
You can't
But
marry
Allah
an
doesn't believe it. They have different sources.
It's not from my own
So there's
perception.
no
Can't marry an 8-year-old, sorry.
Okay,
That'd be a girl, not a woman.
Okay, I'll tell you why. Ezekiel 16 verse 7 to 8.
They use logic.
So Ezekiel, I believe that is, so that verse is actually comparing Israel to the development of a girl. So it's not actually talking about a literal girl, it's using an
That's a
analogy.
huge assumption.
You want to read it. My brother, read it, please.
Okay. And then I came by and saw you all miserable and bloody.
No. Go. So what? Ezekiel, what?
Want me to read the whole Ezekiel 16.
But, I mean, what was this?
7 to 8.
Okay. Start with 1, please.
I can't get to 1.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I'll show you. I've seen this whole one before.
Doesn't make sense.
Islam isn't logical. That's a problem.
His logic God came from him at private part.
And in your Quran, Allah impregnates Mary
You believe that?
by flowing into her. So yeah.
Wrong. Allah sent angel Jibril to
There's
do
only
that
14
job.
verses.
Show me anywhere in the Quran, where it says Allah sent angel Jibril. Show me anywhere that is on the Quran. Allah sent His Spirit. Go to Surah 19:17. Go there right now.
Wait.
So, my friend,
Wait.
sorry about that. What I will tell you is nowhere in the Quran does it say this, that Allah sent Gabriel or Jibril to go and give Mary glad tidings or impregnate her. There's nowhere it says that. In fact, Surah 19:17, I know the verse. The ruh of Allah is sent. The ruh of Allah is the spirit of Allah. And we know from the Quran and from the Hadith that the angels and the spirits are two completely different kinds of beings. The angels are one kind of being and the spirits are kind of beings.
He's a Muslim.
So the Quran doesn't say what he's saying.
Now he's trying to be a Muslim now.
I see. It's compared to.
It's an analogy, yeah?
As you can see over here.
Yeah. So
Son of Man comes to Jerusalem to know her nations, her.
Yeah. So it's not telling us exactly when to marry somebody, right?
Because, bro, and I'm not here to attack.
That's fine.
Captain Bloodfire, I asked him the same question I asked you. In Christianity, at what age he showed me this. He said this is talking about a woman. And bro, the things that it says here is when thy breasts have fashion, pubic hair. This is the earliest sign of puberty for females.
Yeah, and then if you keep on reading, so I can understand what he was potentially saying. He was likening the analogy, right, to the stages of puberty. But even if you look at that analogy, it still says that you have to be completely through the stage of puberty before you can do it. Because if you read, there'll be a section, and I think from 10, right, or even before that, it goes. Then I went away and I came back, right? So it talks about all these developments.
Yeah, but you don't know how long he went for.
Yeah. And this is the same thing that one of your friends said before. Oh, you can wait for 5 minutes. No, but it's discussing a passage of time taking place where significant biological change is happening. So ultimately,
but this isn't like biblical. This is now from your own inference, right?
Well, listen very carefully. The Bible does not detail to you, for example, exactly how to have a wedding or exactly what age you
I think it's very ambiguous.
It's not very ambiguous. It's actually more so clear because all these things point to an ultimate truth and they don't open it for leeway. I told you before, Christ called a 12-year-old a girl. Christ said marriage is a man and a woman. So you can take the inference there from a 12-year-old
and a woman. Honestly, I just wanted to know.
There you go. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
I hope I was respectful. Yeah.
You are.